All right, all right, all right. This is one of my favorite parts of the week, favorite parts of the month, whenever I get to come to you guys with these client interviews. Now, before you click out, this isn't just another interview about people like that are really cool and awesome and like, hey, look at how great they are. Yes, they are really great and they are really cool. Hey, say hey, Dream Team Jackson. Say hey, it's Rick and Chelsea. They're awesome. They're awesome people. Awesome. But here's why you need to watch this. Here's why I need to watch this. So we have some interviews of couples where it's like, yeah, like we paid off all of our debt and we're doing this or that. And it's like, and all those things are cool. And you guys have made some amazing financial wins too along the way. And I just want to celebrate that. But you guys are like fresh out of our program. It's only been like what, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever, since we first started working with you guys. And there are just so many unique, like liberating aspects to your story that I just want to unpack. And you guys have grown personally and as a couple in ways that it just went supersonic in ways that I wouldn't have ever really predicted. And it's so fun when you start working with somebody, you don't really know like what's going to happen and what are the things that are deep down that have been preventing them and keeping them in bondage or keeping them from actually getting where they want to be in business or in their marriage or finances, whatever. And so just to see you guys overcome so many amazing things and get so many breakthroughs, like I'm like, I gotta have you guys on the Facebook Live. So again, say hey again, guys. I'm just so excited to have you guys. Yeah. Yeah. So you guys are great. Why don't you guys just real quick, like introduce yourselves, like who are you? Where do you live? I mean, we all know where you live. And like everybody who's in a colder climate right now is super jealous of you guys because you guys get to live in like paradise vacation every day. But really, why don't you guys unpack that?
All right, we're Rick and Chelsea Jackson. We live in Fort Myers, Florida. We are actually both natives of Florida, so that's a little unique also.
Woohoo! Right here.
It's definitely nice and warm. So
86 degrees, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We have 4 kids. We have a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, and soon to be 13-year-olds.
Woohoo! Oh my gosh, you guys are going to be empty nesters in like crazy time. That's nuts. I know you'll miss them, but grandbabies, here they come. Hopefully. And then real quick, like I know Chelsea, like you've been staying at home with the kids, right, for a while, just busting it, working your butt off there. I think you guys homeschool. And then Rick, you're in, you've been doing property management, all this awesome stuff. Awesome. So guys, like let's just first like just get right into the goods and then we'll kind of work backwards from there. But like, what would you guys say have been some of the most amazing outcomes that you guys have experienced over these last couple months? I know that there's a lot more than we could ever really unpack just in this time, but like really, what would you say just personally and then maybe together in your relationship, financially, just whatever it would be, like it's just a free for all. Like what would you guys say would be some of the things that you're like, oh my gosh, thank you, God, I never would have expected this to happen?
Oh my goodness. I guess I didn't expect it to change our mindsets completely to just a place of hope. I mean, that's what we were looking for. That's what we went into it looking for is, help, get us out of this mess. And, but I think it's just far exceeded what we thought. Of course, there's the, the numbers aspect of things, the budget and stuff like that. And that's been great. I think getting us on the same page. That was hard for me to picture how we were going to both be on the same page with the numbers and me not feel overwhelmed.
So I would say the number one thing is just the communication, which obviously was necessary for us to get through the numbers, where now it's like a subject we didn't want to deal with. And now instead of it being like all on my plate and she feels better not knowing, now we feel better when we're communicating.
Yeah.
And frankly, I've had to adjust a little because I wasn't allowed to like hide things that I wish were different. Not like I was trying to go out of my way to be hurtful to our family, but I knew things may have been looming financially, but nobody else knew. And so now that's all out in the open. The truth will set you free, and it's really made us feel more free with each other. So that's been a huge thing.
Yeah.
And then me personally, the mindset, I began a business about 3 years ago and have made little strides, but it was about like the 3rd or 4th business that I'm working on. And I didn't have the right mindset to actually make it function and grow. And now that's completely changed. So I'm very excited because I had hoped to be out of my current 9 to 5 years ago. Kept trying, and just couldn't do it. And now I'm so happy I'm past that.
So what happened, right? Because you were working a day, 9 to 5 for how many years, and then where are you at? Where are you headed next?
Yeah, so 8.5 years I've been working a 9 to 5 doing property management for one company, and then I had various other jobs in that same market. Now I've been building my business for 3 years, but we're going to go fully into that. And
Ooh, yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So I'll be an independent contractor, or it'll all be through my company. I won't be an employee any longer, and the potential for our income to triple and quadruple is there. I get
Triple
to.
quadruple, man. We looked at like what was it? It was like
We're talking like in a short period of time.
I know. That's just the start. That's just the start.
Yeah, and I also get to do things that I envision myself doing that excite me. They scared me too, but the fear is gone. So that's what's exciting. And to emulate people that I've been friends with in the past, that I wanted to kind of do what they do, and I just didn't think I could.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So 9 weeks ago, if somebody would have told us that he would have put in his resignation for his job and going into full-time self-employment, and that we've got already our $1,000 emergency fund, that we would have made that within 2 weeks. That would have just been hard to imagine. I mean, looking back at all that, when we came into Dream Team Marriage, I didn't even think that it would have anything to do with his job changing. That really just wasn't on either of our minds. We're just trying to get on track with our budget and pay off debt. So it's really been just a neat experience.
Yeah. Which obviously just, we got to throw it out there. Nothing wrong with the 9 to 5, people, just so you guys know. And we're not trashing 9 to 5. The funny thing is I don't really know what, once we get into the hood, because some people are like, are you going to make us quit our jobs or sell our houses or do all this stuff? I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. I mean, we have to get into the hood. But what was so cool is, this was all stuff that you guys just, once you guys got on the same page and you got overcame so many of those debilitating fears, I just bubbled to the surface. It was the cream that rose to the top, and it was like, okay, let's scoop that off and have that for dessert. That's kind of how it worked, right?
Well, the fact is that the dream was already in my heart, and I just felt like it wasn't practical. I couldn't do it with 4 kids. I couldn't do it with the debt we already had. I couldn't do it when we get expenses that we don't expect to come up with cars and things like that. And so the mindset stuff totally rushed all that away. Plus the fact that I had a heart to do this because God put that in me. Because really, when I was a kid, part of the things that he gave me was to make enough money to really support missions and to support organizations that are going to bless people. And it's like life kind of just stamped. So life just kind of stamped on that, and I gave up that at different levels. Like never fully, but it just was like it wasn't happening, and now I'm 46. So that's totally changed. I was thinking about when you told us, hey, look and see about this one decision we needed to make for like the next 2 weeks, and be decisive. Don't let it drag on. And it dawned on me, my decision to leave my job was the same decision I basically had to make when we decided to do the program. It was scary. It was risky. We knew there was great possibilities and wonderful things to happen. But the minute we made the decision, we were just so overwhelmed with joy, and it was exciting, and it was something we could do together. And we weren't in different sides of the arena, And so I felt all those same things with deciding to go full self-employed. And that's not for everybody, but I feel like the Lord's been wooing me slowly because I was too afraid. It's like he would have helped me along this path years ago, but I didn't take the steps of faith. So I'm excited. I'm so thankful.
What was the hardest part just about, for years, knowing deep down that's where you wanted to go, and I'm sure praying a lot, talking a lot about it, thinking a lot about it, but just feeling just in your gut, like it was never really going to happen because you just weren't seeing progress. Like, what do you think was the hardest part about that?
Just feeling trapped.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I feel like when you're a Christian and you know the God of the universe that provides anything you need, you ask and you just walk forward. When you feel trapped, you start to turn to things that are outside of his plan and outside of his will.
Hmm.
So it's hard because you feel crushed. And yes, there's people in the Bible that you can look at that kind of went through these kind of things. But it causes you to look aside outside of his plan.
Hmm.
And that's probably the hardest thing, is that you want your life to be this straight trajectory of just bigger faith and wonderful things with the Lord. But when you feel trapped, you take these side roads that are not what God has for you. So,
Hmm. Do you mind unpacking some of that? Like just to, just to share, like what do you feel like are some of those side roads that you notice that just it's starting to get unhealthy?
I think the communication breaks down pretty fast. You start to have arguments about things in the home that are piddly, and I think that's what a lot of people experience on a day in day out
Hmm.
basis. You start to isolate yourself from your spouse,
Hmm.
and you just start to you're just opened up to a whole new realm of things that catch your interest, whether it be covetousness for objects. It seems funny. I feel like now, knowing that I'm developing more wealth, that I'm not going to be as enamored with money as I was when it was like
Hmm.
something I couldn't reach.
That's
It's
whoa. Hmm.
So I don't feel like covetousness is a part of the package because I know God's flowing things through us so that we can give out to other people and do things. So I'm not concerned with being sinful in that area. But before, we had this poverty mindset. And we even watch it in our kids too.
Hmm.
And it's sad that we're a Christian family that shouldn't be there
Hmm.
because poverty is not a part of the life of knowing the Lord. And so,
Hmm. And where was like, Chelsea, like I know just for Rick, like him sharing that, like seeing that isolate start to happen, seeing that, for years you feel like you're just beating your head against a wall, your kids are getting older, like, well, obviously turn to some more of the happy stuff, but still like, I just know for you, like, what do you feel like was really that, like the darkest point for you where it was just like, you just felt like it was never, it's just always going to be this way. I mean, I don't know what was really going through your mind. Like, what was that kind of dark night of the soul where it's like, it was maybe your lowest part?
I think just seeing him just feeling stuck and seeing that coming out just in um, just attitudes, but even just withdrawing. I could see just depression on him, and that's just not in his normal personality. He's a very go with the flow kind of person, and just enjoys life, and and really just he's easy to get along with. So just seeing the that change in him, and we all face ups and downs, and as a team being married, we usually when one's down the other one's up, and it's neat that God made it that way, and so I would be that encourager for him, just as he's the main breadwinner, and so I want to support that, but not coming out of that. And so if he's the one providing and bringing in the income, and he's not doing well, and he's feeling stuck, and even me giving him a boost now and then is not pulling him out of that, then things must be really bad.
Hmm.
um, and so that would wear on my just my feelings of overwhelm. And
Hmm.
um, I've had different health issues over the years, but I think it just made it hard to want to get out of bed each
Hmm.
morning. There was just felt like all the joy, of life was just sucked out, because what is there to look forward to? Just not being able to see how we can get out of that, and knowing there's, looming debt there, and having dreams, that we've talked about. And, it's just was a place of just not knowing what else to do.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't that we're not big arguers, but things could have been better. Communication could have been better. We used to have very deep conversations earlier on in our marriage about all kinds of stuff, and dreaming, and just things that we would enjoy talking about. And I feel like because of just all that weight and all that yuck on him and on both of us, it just that just wasn't there anymore. So I feel like we've just done a complete turnaround just in just how we reframe hard things. We're obviously still dealing with hard things because we live in this world, but we're able to reframe that and help each other to reframe things, which is the coolest part, that we can, if I'm maybe seeing something that's come up that's a frustrating situation, and I'm, starting to go into a bad place with that, the thoughts, he's there to help me turn that around, and vice versa.
I feel like I have a reference point to comment on it, where I'm not attacking who she is as a person, but I'm attacking the fact that the source of how she's acting is not really her.
Mm.
It's not the her that we know is from the Bible, and the her that we know is renewed in her mind, and the her that is that powerful superhero that we've seen, and that I know has vision for our family. So I've done that with her, and she's done that with me, and it's been really good.
Yeah.
So
and along those lines of what he's saying about me having vision for our family, I think that is something in me that I have allowed to kind of fall aside. Is just that dreaming personally. Yes, we dream together as marriage, but dreaming for myself personally. And I feel like that's just something I've just begun to open up, to allow myself to do that it's okay. I think for so long, just fear of disappointment, there's been disappointments, and I think I've allowed that fear of disappointment to just squelch dreaming for me.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing I'm excited about for myself personally, is just like, beginning to unravel that stuff, and really what does God have for me as an individual. I'm not just mom or just wife, although I love those roles. So that's neat.
Yeah, that's a real big temptation too, and a hardship, especially when you are a stay-at-home mom, because you can almost feel like you lose kind of your identity, and you go through school, and maybe you even go through some college or some post, high school work, and you're maybe working a job, and all of a sudden kids land in your lap and a husband, and then it just kind of go from feeling like you've got all these skills and different things, and obviously it's important. We homeschool and we do all this stuff, and it's like it's so crucial, but like you said, you start to wonder, like, where do I get to really contribute? Where do I get to still show up in the world, and just with all of my essence and talents and things like that, and make a dent even just outside of our home, which obviously when you read the Bible, it doesn't suggest that just because you're at home that you don't have any influence outside of your home, but that's kind of one of those myths, and it keeps you stuck. And so where do you even like see yourself now in terms of like your contribution and like what you're going to do going forward? I know that the vision is still kind of growing, but where do you see yourself just kind of heading, just you personally? Because I just see so much potential in you. I see so much of just that power coming out again, where you not only know, hey, I'm actually capable of some pretty amazing things, but I'm going to go do some really amazing things. And I'm excited about that. And you already have done them, but just adding to that, what do you feel like is next?
Oh my gosh. I don't Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm still at the beginning of giving myself permission to dream that, not feel, you know, I don't know. I really enjoy encouraging others, especially with things that I've been through myself. Just seeing them light up with hope when I have words to offer to them. Um, and I don't know. I would love to see us do some missions together and as a family. That's something that we've talked about in the past. So I don't know. I'm really just open to whatever God has, and I feel like I have the tools now that it'll be easier for me to push through those fears. As ideas come to me, or as God even brings things to me. I think it'll be easier for me to jump into those things.
Yeah. Let me ask, so on this angle, Rick, like having Chelsea 100%, like you being 100% on the same page, feeling so connected, feeling so united, feeling so just that she's 100% in your corner and believes in you and is excited. I mean, even just on that front, not that you're just Rick's sidekick, but just the fact that you guys really, it's our business, right? It's not just Rick's business. Like, how do you feel like just having that connection with her has already just increased your potential and really knowing where you're going to go in your business? I mean, how much do you feel like that? Just because she got feedback, oh yeah, I'm just I'm here to encourage and I'm kind of here for Rick, and that's true. But it's like really like, where do you see this heading? Just knowing how much has shifted in your relationship and how much she's really just stepped into her, and all of her skill.
Well, it seemed like in the past that I was just adding one more thing on that was going to bring in some income but take a lot of time too. And so that was like at odds with, okay, but what about family? So now what I see already happening is that we have all those crucial like boardroom conversations inside our marriage where I was like, oh, well, maybe we should advertise this way and do this. And then she's asking me questions like, yeah, but do you have a budget for that? And like all this stuff that she never would have said before. It was just me solo, right? And so and so now she's like asking good questions. She's saying, no, I don't think you should do that. And she has really great reasons why, but it's something that I wouldn't have come up with, and so I just enjoy it being more of a fun, enjoyable conversation to build the business versus, oh, this is my thing. I'm going to go out here and do these hard things and almost like in spite of our marriage, I have to accomplish it so that we have the money we need. But it's like separate, so it's not compartmentalized, and that to me really helps because I feel like the Holy Spirit talks through her, and I can come home and discuss a problem that I've had in a situation, and she may have a completely better solution than I would have thought of, and she's ready to support me with mindset that maybe I'm lacking for the last 5 minutes. Where I come in the door and I'm like, oh, this happened. Tomorrow's going to be really hard. And she goes, well, no, it won't be because of this, this, and this. And so that's a totally different realm. And because I don't see joining together with a lot of people in like a true business partnership, we want this to be ours, our company. She clearly steps into that role.
Yeah.
And she's not afraid of it. Like I thought she didn't want to be a part. But it's really that she wants to say very important things at the right time and have a huge impact. She just doesn't want to do all the little running around. That's for me to delegate to other people. And so it's really neat. So really, she's the CEO. And in fact, the company, for weird business reasons, she actually is the CEO and I'm not. So
I love it.
So she's the CEO in reality and also in the way that, I just love the input that she gives. So that it's a true blessing. I enjoy so much things being so unified that you can't separate our marriage and business and homeschool and the kids. You can't separate it. It's all together. And I think that really blesses the kids to be able to see that and to see what that looks like. And each one of our kids has seen a different facet of that because of their ages growing up. But I think it's great for them to see, okay, this is a hurdle we're facing business-wise. We're going to sit down and pray about it, and we're going to do this, this, and this, because remember, the mission is God wants us to live this kind of life. And, saying this kind of life, I mean not just what we're living, but I mean what the future goal is, who we want to bless, who we want to encourage out of our overflow. And so because of that, this is God's mission. So let's face this together. So
Yeah.
that's and the other way was isolating, and I felt like I was doing what I needed to do, and she just didn't understand. But the fact is that I didn't have the right mindset to know that she understands so much, that it at least motivates me and changes my course to be the way it should be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Things were definitely a little bit lopsided before, and that was kind of just the way we set it up. But he had to carry the weight of just trying to plan out our budget and stuff, because I just felt overwhelmed in it, and we just had a hard time getting on the same page with understanding, and I just don't feel like it doesn't have that yucky feeling anymore. So it just doesn't feel, it feels like a non-issue now.
Yeah, Chelsea's that silent, she's like the silent assassin. She's just like, you remind me a lot of when we started the business and ramping it up, we were in a similar kind of situation where, it was 100% me. And I'm like, okay, it's my responsibility. And by all means, I told my wife, you'd say like, hey, if you want to, be a part, you can, whatever. But I think a lot of it just came down to, I just didn't really see, I didn't have eyes to see just how much of the insight and the wisdom, and like we've talked about, the heart of her husband trusts in her and he will have no lack of gain. And I'm just thinking, man, for how many years I was flushing profits down the toilet because I was not listening, and I wasn't engaging with her for the longest of time. And that was even after getting on the same page. And so there's always another level of growth, but it's just so amazing now when I listen to her talk, and like even Chelsea, when I listen to you talk, there's no doubt in my mind that, when Rick's, cutting the ribbons and things like that, it's going to be, he's like this, here, hand her the scissors because she's
That's right.
Yeah, you just have so much wisdom and you have so much insight and just asking such great questions. And it's just so powerful when you can fully have your confidence, and you can fully receive. I'm sure before, Chelsea, when you tried to bring those things up to Rick, I'm sure you tried at least one or two times, but what was it like before compared to what it is now when you would bring up suggestions or things like that you really felt would have gotten you better financially,
Yeah, I think sometimes just feeling misunderstood about my intent with my questions or what I was bringing to the table. And because he felt so much weight and stress from it, he was just on edge and, waiting. I think just feeling in a place of, defense.
Always.
I don't know.
I was defensive, even if there was great questions and great reasons for her to ask.
Yeah, and it was, we can't point fingers that it was all on one of us. It really wasn't. We equally were not working together how we needed to be. We each just, because of the wrong mindsets that we've allowed ourselves to have, it just ended up that way. And I don't know, I think that it's just so much easier now to just communicate things without feeling like I have to tiptoe or him feeling and honestly, just in my position, I think sometimes I would blame him if there was something we couldn't do. I would look to him, well, are we able to do this, this month? Or it wouldn't be something lavish, but just something maybe with the family, and it, that's a lot of weight to put on him. And I think that, that was just a bad habit that I had. And I think it was not wanting to deal with it initially. And so it was easier to look to him. And so I think, it just feels good to have us both on the same page, and we're making those decisions together. And
Yeah, I mean, from a financial standpoint, the way it felt was we could handle the day in, day out okay. It was things like the yearly vacation where she would say, "Well, we've got to go. We're stressed out. The kids are this and that." And I just felt like, okay, well, 100% of that's going to create new debt. But we wouldn't talk about it. She was just like, "Can we go? Like, we need to go." And she was right emotionally and for proper health. But all I knew in my head was, well, this is going to create a bigger weight in the future. But we didn't discuss that. And so year after year, that would kind of build up. Trying to launch a child into college created expenses of traveling and trying to pick the school. And all those built up. We could handle the basic regular stuff, but it was those special things that it just was really hard. And so now when I think about how things are going to be doing day in and day out, I feel more like it's creative. Like I get a chance to paint a picture. How do I want to paint the picture today, and what tools do I want to use? And I had those tools before, but I thought of them as basically like trying to dig a hole out of sand with a shovel, and it keeps caving in more as you're digging. You're trying to claw out, but it's caving in as you're doing it. Where now I really feel like the more creative ideas I get that God actually delivers to me and gives her, that they're just going to be exponentially fruitful. And it's like He's already got everything solved. It's just we have to just walk in peace and abide. And that word abide and that idea of peace, it was contradictory to me. Okay, I'm going out the door and I'm going to do business. And I'm going to make it happen. But it was I'm going to make it happen. And now I'm like, now with our mindset things in the morning, and I give God thanks, and I envision how He wants to bless people and how He wants to bless our family. And then I say, okay, God, show me what to do today with my plan. I don't feel that weight. And it's not, I'm not trying to save my life today. I'm living out of abundance that God's already provided. I just have to be obedient and just work hard. We get to work hard together. So it's fine. And
you have a plan. Which
yeah.
And I have to bring this up. I know I brought up on other lives, but I still think one of the biggest curses in the minds of Christians is still thinking that if I'm, to trust God means I don't have to do anything and I don't have to have a plan. And I just keep hearing that over and over and over. God's gonna basically bail us out. And I just love the fact that you guys just said, you know what, like this, like enough is enough, and we're gonna do something about this. We're going to get wise counsel. We're going to actually live within our means, actually plan our money. Like it seems so basic, but I mean, just the changes you guys have made. I mean, I remember you guys, when we first started, there was some crazy, I remember I was like, hey, I gave you a challenge, right? It was like, basically, I want you guys to make up this big of a difference. Do you guys remember what exactly it was? And what was that? Because I remember it was like a little bit of a freak out, a little bit of a panic. And I tell people, obviously we're here to stretch you, but not in a way that we don't believe you're capable of. Because when I would go to the gym, I'd go over there, okay, yeah, we're going to do this exercise. And I go pick up the 20s, and my trainer would go grab the 25s. And I was like, the 25s? Watching, he's watching me, he's observing me, he's been keeping track, or she's been keeping track in their head. Like they know what I can, they're looking at my body, they're an expert, right? And so, but I know for me, it can be uncomfortable at first. I'm like, okay. And then eventually I start grabbing, when they say 20, hey, go grab the 25, I grab the 30, because I wanted that push, but it took a while for me to get there. So I feel like you guys had kind of had that too, where it was like, you had this initial challenge I kind of gave you and talk about that. But then even then it's kind of like, okay, well, you can do this. And then you guys just pick up the 30. And that's what it was like, oh, wow. Okay. All right. You guys want to do, okay. So what was that first big win that you guys had? Because it was pretty significant.
We were short on our budget by, was it almost $2,000?
Yeah. It was like $1,700 or something. Yeah. That's a monthly budget.
Yes.
Yeah, which super encouraging that you guys are even being real about that, because most people would never want to be honest, but it was like every month, like you said, it was just bleeding out. It was really spending more than what you made, and then that wasn't even, then you add vacations and stuff, and then you said, now even bigger one. So you're either pulling from savings, you're pulling from cards, or refinancing, whatever you're doing. But it's like, not just you, I just mean anybody,
Yeah.
to make it work. And so then it was like, okay, we're going to stop the bleeding. We're going to plug the hole in the boat. But then there was that, oh my gosh, like realization, and Chelsea's there and you're there and you're both looking at the numbers, like the numbers don't lie. We got to get, so yeah, you're like 1,700 in the hole. And I think I was, you guys were like, okay, I'm like, I want you to get totally zeroed out. Right. And then what was the other thing?
And then build our emergency fund, get $1,000 in our emergency fund, and all that in
I think I said do it in 2 weeks. But some people are like already pooping their pants. They're like, but it's like, but again, it wasn't something where I was like arbitrarily like whatever, they'll figure it out. I mean, I really knew, like knowing you guys, like knowing what was happening in your teamwork and your resourcefulness and your commitment. I just knew, like in my gut, I'm like, because the thing is even if you set a goal, okay, we're going to be debt free in 2 years. Well, the reality is I've was talking to a couple recently, like, well, if we pick 5, then we're for sure going to hit it. If you pick 5, it's like taking a 30-year mortgage and saying, well, I'll just pay it like at 15. Never happens. It never happens, right? So if you say that you're going to do it in 5, like just in case it's like the backup, you're going to do it in 5. But the cool thing is, if you say you're going to do it in 3 and you commit and you get the coaching and you put the tools in place, worst case scenario, or say you're going to do it in 2, it might take you 2.5. It might even take you 3, but you're going to be way sooner than 5. So I just knew, I was like, I really believed you guys would either do it or get really freaking close. So it was like, it was like a $2,700 shift in like 2 weeks, something like that. And I remember you guys came on our week 5, or you celebrating the group, and I was like, what? You did it?
Yes. And I kind of feel like, because we've seen that happen a few times through the program, where we saw a barrier that we didn't think was possible, and it kept falling, like we kept accomplishing it. So then when God was reminding me, well, the way to solve this as a cycle is to just go out on your own. When he reminded me, like whispering in my ear, like, remember, you want to be self-employed. I felt like that was the next barrier that all I had to do was say yes to, and it was going to fall. And so that's why it just felt like the 3rd or 4th cycle in the program of, oh, well, then this is just the next thing to do. Now, I went into work and I'm like, hey, I'm going to write a resignation letter for a job where my boss loves me. I have tons of free space to work. I'm not overbearing. Nobody's like micromanaging me. I mean, there's a lot of positives, but the thing that there wasn't what God had for me next. It was the end of what it was. And I just was there because I couldn't take the next step. And so it was...
I think, going back to you telling us we've got 2 weeks to do this, honestly, I was like, my first thought is, it's like Christmas time. This is like around Black Friday.
Yeah, crucial detail, everybody. Crucial detail. Like, best time of the year to get a challenge like that, right?
I did have that thought. Why did we do this right before Christmas time? Yeah. But looking back, I don't think there was a better time for us. I mean, it was just so neat to see what we could do and how God, used our action steps to just make it a great Christmas. And I know you kept telling me it was, this is going to be the best Christmas ever, and to, really reframe that. And it really has been. But when you first told us that, I was like, has he looked at our budget very well? Why would he even think that we could do this? And so I, for about maybe 15 minutes, it wasn't long. I think I was growing quickly. About 15 minutes, I let myself just really be confused and discouraged, and went through all those thoughts about how are we going to do this? How are we going to have, Christmas for our kids? And then to see how we just became resourceful with things that we just didn't think, we could make money off of, or, just how it all worked out, and the stuff that we didn't think we could live without. It really wasn't the big deal that I thought it was going to be, but it was hard. Yeah. But like Rick said, I'm grateful for that. I think that challenge really just showed us what we can do. So
Yeah.
now looking forward, when we have these next hurdles, I think we can look back at that and, know, hey, if we could do that in 2 weeks, I really think that,
Yeah.
there's not a lot that we can't do.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So.
I love it. You just got to poop your pants, right? That's just
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
for everybody. Yeah. And I was watching this really great documentary. It's The Men Who Built America. It's on Amazon. And it just, when you look at Rockefeller, when you look at Vanderbilt, when you look at when you look at Carnegie, some of these pillars, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, that really, when you drive through Chicago and you see those buildings, I mean, that was the work primarily of one man's vision. When you see the railroad tracks, when you see these, that was primarily the work of one man's vision. But when you look back and you think, oh well, they must have had it easier. They must have had been fed whatever on a silver platter and spoon fed. I mean, I think it was Carnegie and it was Rockefeller, I believe, both of them. It's like their dads were totally absent. I mean, history, whatever, people buffs can prove me wrong, whatever. But it was like that's the way they presented it. Looking at that, and so they grew up hard times. They were scrappy. When you looked at Vanderbilt, he started with $100 boat, that he started, eventually built this into this huge empire and built one of the largest railroad companies. And it's all of these things. But you look back and what's really the key? What is it that allowed people to do this? I mean, some of these guys weren't educated on a sophisticated higher level. And what was it? And it was just like you guys talked about. It was those key traits of resourcefulness, commitment, decisiveness, all of these things, and really being able to constantly just embrace fear and not resent it, but love it and just be willing to do things that are a little bit risky, but that aren't blindly stupid. And I think that that's one of the biggest things is some people might look at, whether it's working with a coach for something or making some major changes, starting a business as, oh my gosh, that's just stupid. And it looks stupid. But when you really look at it, I mean, even for you, Rick, it was one of those things where you look at the numbers and it's like, dude, you're making whatever, 10 times more per hour in your business than your day job. What if we just took all those hours and slapped them over here? And it was just like, oh yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense. But and so it's not irrational, but it is scary. It's scary. And just a word to everyone out there. I mean, if you guys want to be successful, basically I would encourage you, maybe at the start of your week, just think, what's the scariest thing I could do this week? And choose that. Start with that. Start your day with that. Start your week with that. And you guys have just been to go from so overwhelmed and just cowering, in this place almost in a feeble position to stepping up. And you guys are so I mean, that's why I love this interview. I'm like, I love doing these interviews with you guys because I'm thinking, I don't even know that person you're talking about. I can't even in my mind imagine you guys going back to that place for more than 10 minutes or 15 minutes at a time, but definitely not years at a time. And that's part of too why there's so many, there's lots of free programs or cheap things out there or books or things like that. And people are saying, well, I've tried this. And it doesn't seem like it works for me. Maybe it's just not going to work for me. But you don't overcome all of the deeper emotional and psychological pain and overwhelm and fear and all of these stressors and the marriage issues and all these things. And people wonder why, they go to a marriage retreat or they go to this and they feel great. But then a week later, they go right back down and they don't get long lasting solutions. They don't get a life transformation. They get more information and get a shot in the arm. But let me just ask you guys, again, just it's not about our program or anything, but I just mean for you personally, do you feel like there's still part of you, it's like, maybe this was just that shot in the arm? Or do you feel like this is just our normal now? This is just who we are and where we're hoping. It's only going to get better. I mean, really, if you're to be honest with yourself.
No, I feel a complete transference of what you've said and what you've taught us on is now mine. Because frankly, I might have had more of the information than a lot of people when we started, because I grew up in a family that put me in connection with great speakers and great teaching tapes and great information. But they were those shots in the arm. But I actually feel, because of the length of time of what we did and the fact that it cost us every free penny we had, but we felt like it showed up at the right time. It was almost like it wasn't ours. It showed up And we just said, well, we're just almost like the widow's mite. We're going to give it all. So we gave it all and we got everything back and we got this totally changed life. So I'm a firm believer in it's got to cost you something on the front side, because that's the pattern you have to live in as you grow into bigger and bigger gains, is that what you're about to do in front of you is going to cost you, but there's a bigger worth on the other side. Are you willing to take the step now? And I'm going to have to answer that question for myself every single week, but it's going to always move forward. So it's...
Well, I just think why it's going to work, why we're not looking back, is because we committed to that program. The moment we made our payment and we started, we made a commitment that this is a big deal and we're just going to go all in with it. I mean, I'm sure if you like giving your money and don't want to, stick to what you're being told, then it might not work. But we were committed, and if it was just one of us committed and doing all the stuff, then it's not going to work. I think the fact that we both were doing the same things, we both were working on it together, we were both, having our weekly date nights and our meetings that don't feel like meetings. They just feel like a set aside time for conversation. If we weren't both doing that, then I don't think we'd make it. But I think, we are committed. We're all in, and we're still all in, and, we're just not going to let one of us fall off. So it's going to work. And I'm excited about that. And I mean, God's behind it. And I mean, this is what marriage is supposed to be.
Yes.
And I feel like God gives us dreams sometime in our past in our lives, and we've accepted barriers to stop those. And this is one of those situations where you can get washed of that doubt and those limiting factors and get back to where your dreams are. God put them there. He wants them for a purpose, to fulfill you and to bless other people. So don't get caught in the lies that you can't do them. You can't have them. So I really feel like it was just God washing us of years of poor habits and poor communication and doubt. And he just he hit the reset button. So.
Wow. You got, I mean, where's the conference? Where's the conference, the Jackson conference? I just can't wait to see what's, I want to buy tickets. Where can I buy tickets to this? I mean, this is, you guys, I mean, I'm just going to step out of the frame. You guys do the whole show because you guys are really so inspirational to me. I mean, I seriously, I can see you guys just on stage in front of thousands of people, just together, just giving hope and giving inspiration. I mean, everyone loves the underdog story. I mean, everyone loves the story of like we were at rock bottom but you guys didn't stay there. And you made a commitment to do this. And for you guys, like you said, I mean, the hardest part for me, I think, is collecting payment, to work with people, because especially for some people, like you said, where it's like, I know, like it's people, I think some people, I mean, I even got a guy recently, joke around. He's like, well, how do I know you're not going to run off with everything and like do this? And it was just so funny. And I just told people, I'm like, I feel a greater sense of weightiness probably than anybody on the conversation, because I have to deliver the goods. I mean, if you guys don't get a massive breakthrough, if you guys don't have things like this happen, I mean, I don't care about the money. It's like nothing would make me more depressed and sad and make me want to throw the towel in than if people went through our program and they're just like, oh yeah, I was okay. We paid off some debt. Oh, our marriage is a little bit better. Whatever. I mean, that does nothing for me. And it's like, so to see people like you, and just to see you guys come through this, and so many of our other couples come through this process and really have that kind of transformation, like that's what it's all about. And I'm just excited because it's not just like, oh, okay, yeah, like we've paid all this off and we've done this, and it's like, it's cool when it pays for itself within the short period of time. But really, like, I'm looking at lifelong investment and what happens when you invest in yourselves and get the help. What is that going to mean, not just for the next couple months, but what's that going to mean for the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years for your guys' net worth and for your marriage and for your impact for the kingdom of God. Because now all that money is going to be freed up. And it was just getting lost. And it was being sacrificed on the altar of fear and poor communication and overwhelm and all these things. And so just to see like, how is God going to use you guys? I mean, it's blowing my, I mean, I can see it because you guys have that heart. And so many of you out there, you're watching this, you have that heart for God. You want to be used by God, but you don't even know why it's not working. All you know is it's not working. And so what would you guys tell people that you just have felt stuck? You feel like we're just another year's gone by, another 20 and 18, 2019, 20, 2020 is about to go by. What would you tell people if they're just like, maybe where you guys were at first, where you've tried so many different things. You've tried, debt consolidation or this program or that, or, all these random things to try to fix the problem. And it doesn't seem to be working. And you just don't feel like, do we really have hope? Like, what would you tell those people out there that are watching this?
That there's hope. There's tools that you'll learn that it's just, I don't even know how to describe it, but I just feel like that this program has just been a holistic approach. Yeah. It just hits on every area of your life, that it's just impossible not to succeed. If you're following.
I'm kind of speechless just because I didn't expect the same outcome that happened. I didn't know that this was going to catapult me into some of the dreams that I'd had. I just thought we would fix the problem, fix the day in, day out budgeting, and maybe we'd be a little happier and stuff. But I really feel like it's like God knew what he put in us, and so he wanted to water that. I think that's the same promise he gives to any couple that trust in him, is that he wants to see you blessed today, and he wants you to be a blessing. And so I feel like he saw our hearts. If you cry out to the Lord and say, look, I'm stuck, I need help, he'll bring it.
Yeah.
But you still have to be willing to change.
Yeah.
And so we took that piece of risk and willing to change and doing hard work. So it wasn't like just accepting like a piece of candy from someone. We had to do hard work. And so I think if you feel like you're desperate and you're in that situation where you really don't know what to do, but you're willing to do anything for it to change, then that's where God does amazing things. And I feel like he's used you, Jeremy, to pull people out of that. And you don't always know ahead of time how bad and how to the core the problem is, but he uses you. And the Holy Spirit obviously speaks through the scriptures that we go through and the mindset. And so I really feel like there's just a huge piece of ministry to this that other things lack. Yeah. They may use scripture, but the scriptures they're using are only to solve one facet of the problem. And we really feel like, and the great thing is that my wife was the one that saw your marketing, and I could have never brought her to, hey, we really need to do something that's going to be about budgeting and so that we're not spending too much. She'd have like, what are you talking about? The only problem is that sometimes I want to go on vacation and you think that maybe we don't have enough money. She didn't know, like every single day it was, working on me in a way. She could see the effects. She just didn't know the thought process. And when she saw it and she said, hey, look at this. And I thought to myself, if my spouse is willing to do this, that's the key, because I would have wanted that. I just wouldn't have known how to approach her with it. And so you approached her in the way that she was willing to receive, and it was God's plan, and it's been great.
Yeah. I think, and like I said, it's gone beyond even just the financial stuff. We thought that's what we were going in for, but it's just opened up the door to so much more communication in other areas, and just even things that we, lies that we've believed about lots of different things that may not even be directly connected to our finances, but they were hindering they were hindering things anyway. You know, that's just something that you're not going to get going through another program. I mean, it's just stirred things up in a really good way. And I think you mentioned in one of our, I think our last weekly call with the group, just about liberation, and that word has just stuck out to me. I think that's just, you know, we feel liberated, in just in so many ways. So I cannot imagine falling back into bad habits, you know, where we were before. It's just, it's not an option. So.
I love you guys. It's so encouraging. It's so encouraging. Like, I mean, the things that you say about us are really sweet and nice, but like, I don't care about that. It's like, just nothing brings me more joy than seeing you guys become these types of people and have this type of outlook on life. And just knowing that you guys you already were a powerhouse. Like we've talked about, the oil, the $1 million oil was already was already in the land. You just didn't tap into it yet. So it's been my greatest joy to get to, you know, just beat the hammer and the pipes in the ground just a little bit, you know, and just kind of see that, oh my gosh, like what amazing potential and power, and God is going to use you guys. I can't wait. I'm telling you, you're going to have the first, development, whatever conference or something for real estate people or whatever the heck it was. I mean, it's going to be awesome just to see like how God is going to continue to use you guys and grow you guys and stretch you guys, and just continue to allow you guys to have the ability to just overcome whatever would step in between you and what you guys want. And I just believe it. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, there's some people you see in life and they have a cool experience and you're like, we're all wondering, like, it's like it's the person at the family reunion, like, oh yeah, I just lost 30 pounds using this thing, and you're like, oh great, and you're like, they're probably not going to be skinny for more than you know what I mean? Like, that's probably not going to last that much longer, and but just seeing you guys, and I think everyone watching, you can tell when people, like, to the core of your being, that there's been a complete breakthrough and a 180. And so guys, I'm just so excited. It's like the sky's the limit for you. Get ready. It's only going to get better from here. And I love being on the journey with you and getting to see that happen. So guys, if you're at all curious as to, hey, what's our potential? What's possible for us? What could happen if we could go through the same sort of process of really truly getting on the same page, really overcoming whatever the things are that you don't even realize are there, but in your mind, the fear, the overwhelm, the stress, whatever it would be in the situation that has been stopping you guys from getting where you want to be in your marriage and your finances. If you guys want to discover and really come to an idea of what's our potential, where could we be at, guys, that's why we do our couples breakthrough sessions. So I would encourage you guys, go to dreamteammarriage.com, book a call. We're going to do the same thing like we did with Rick and Chelsea. We're going to sit down, we're going to clear on what's not working, what's really been keeping you guys stuck for so long. And this is a free call. Then we're going to talk about really, like, what do you guys want, and help you guys create a timeline. What would it look like if whether it's debt freedom or having an emergency fund, really transforming your, whatever it would be, guys. We're going to help you guys develop a timeline and figure out the best plan forward. For a lot of people, even since January, I've had to turn a lot of people away because people just are maybe not really good fits, or we just look at them and we just say, you know what, I'm just not convinced you guys are really want to do the work. And like Rick pointed out, I mean, guys, like there's no get rich quick. I mean, it's anything worthwhile, like results worthwhile, like it's going to require hard work. It's going to require resourcefulness. It's going to require being decisive. It's going to require stepping past fear. And it's like, if you're not there yet, that's fine. There's no judgment, but you have to be willing to do some things that are extremely uncomfortable to get things that you've never had before. And there's a part of you in the back of your mind that's screaming, don't do this. Don't make me leave. I like this comfortable place. But that's really your villain. That's not the person who's going to actually get you to where you want to go. I mean, where have you ever built success? By listening to that voice. It's listening to the voice of, you can do this. Get the right help, move forward, step out of fear, things like that. And guys, we're going to help you guys develop whatever best plan would be for your family to get you where you want. If it's with us, we'll let you know. If not, I promise we'll be transparent with you and we'll let you guys know that too. But it would be fun. I'm sure Rick and Chelsea would love to greet you on the other side and cheer you guys on. And that's really what I love, is that, between you guys and so many of our other couples, like just being there's cheerleaders, even when you guys graduate, and it's like just having that kind of community. It's hard to find people like you guys where you could just unpack not only your problems, but where do you want, and feel like it's a safe place like where it's like people aren't going to condemn you, they're not going to belittle you, they're not going to say, oh well, are you sure you can really do that, are you sure that's really smart, are you sure that that's wise, are you sure that you're not making an idol out of those things? And just people that are actually going, okay, yeah, obviously let's keep your heart in check, but really, how can I support you? Tell me about that. What's going on? How can we make this better? How can we get this further? Tripling your income, why not quadruple? Let's take it to that next level, right? So the fact that you guys have developed friendships like that and that we get to continue to support you even after this, it's just so fun. I just cannot wait. Can't wait to give you guys a hug. I want to come to Florida so bad. It's like, I mean, even today, it's like in Tennessee, it's like, it's still pretty, but it's like, oh man, I would love to sink my feet in some sand right now. So love to come down and see you guys. Yeah, but love you guys with all of our hearts. So proud of you. And maybe give us one more 3, 2, 1. Go Dream Team Jackson, because I know, yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Go Dream
Team Jackson. Yes. Awesome. What a great interview again, guys. DreamTeamMarriage.com. If you want to book a call with us, we'd love to speak with you and see if we can help you. Have a great day, guys. Super encouraged by your story, and just get ready. It's gonna be awesome. So talk to you guys soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.